Hi, and welcome to Frack The Canon. I'm Rene Mendoza, as always. My co-host from LA, CJ. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
So, how you been? It's been a while since we did one of these.
It has been a while indeed.
What is the last thing we did? What was it we talked about? Do you remember? Was it Civil
We
War?
talked. Was this a war? Or was it the Flash and Arrow and all
That's
that?
what it was. It was DC.
Yeah.
So, keeping on track with comic book stuff and sci-fi, we'll talk about Star Trek Beyond, Suicide Squad, and then, if we have time, legacy characters, or as you called it, CJ, what I liked. You want to say it?
You said.
Affirmative action characters, comic book characters. Alrighty. So we have a clip for Star Trek Beyond. Whenever you're ready, can you please roll that clip?
Shield frequencies have no effect, sir.
They took out the dish. Shields are inoperable. What the hell are we moving? I can't engage the warp drive, sir.
And that was the destruction of the Enterprise, CJ. How many times have the Enterprise been destroyed now in the movies or in the TV show?
A lot.
So, like, were you?
Okay, okay. I would just first like to say that was the first time I was able to see a clip from the screen over here. It just cuts to black for me. Now
Really?
I'm able to take part in seeing clips now.
That is awesome. I'm glad we fixed that. We're doing a show for a year. That's kind of sad that we've been doing it with that like that. um,
Anyway, keep going.
Anywho, what did you think about this movie overall? Like, out of all the Star Trek movies, including the reboot, what do you rank this?
Out of all including the reboot, I don't know. I didn't know that you were going to ask
All
me
right.
that, so I wasn't prepared.
All right, well, what about the original crew then? Original crew movies then?
Yeah, as far as how I feel, I'll rate it in its trilogy. All
Uh-huh.
right, I'll say that between the three
Uh-huh.
Star Trek reboot movies, I like it the second best. So
What's
I like it
first?
better than the first one, but I don't like it as much as I like the second one.
You like Into Darkness?
Yeah, I
I
like Into Darkness the most, actually.
Really? Why? Because I don't like the movie at all. That's my least favorite movie.
Well, no, cause see, I think it gets a bad rep from so-called diehard Star Trek fans because of the whole Khan thing. Now, I think that it's a different argument whether or not Khan should have been in the movie. I don't agree with the fact that they chose Khan, but I
Mm.
think since they went with him, like I think they did a good job with him. And with the material presented in the movie, I think that it was the best done out of all the Star Trek movies.
I feel differently because I feel that Khan, it was just them, a fan version trying to do remake Khan the way they brought it back Khan. They had, instead of Spock die Kirk, they did I always be your friend. I'm like blah blah blah, whatever. It was just fan service, badly done fan service. That's how I feel about that.
I mean, I feel like see that's the thing is I feel like you and other people get hung up on the fact that it's Khan. Like, yeah, it's Khan, but I think you're just getting hung up on
But Khan
that it's
wasn't done
Khan.
well though. I don't think he was. I don't think he was done well. That's what it was. How I feel.
What was I don't understand what they did wrong with him. They did his story was believable enough. They did it justice. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it wasn't Ricardo Montalban because
It
he
wasn't
can't
even.
be him.
It wasn't that. It was the fact that it was so early, and it was the way someone said it to was karaoke Star Trek. Like they were just repeating the beats, but there was no spirit of Star Trek, and that's kind of what rings true to me is that it's Star Trek karaoke. It's a bad sequel.
But you could say that about all these movies.
Touche.
You can say that about all these movies because our first iteration of Star Trek is a show. Like it's usually meant to be a show, and you
Uh-huh.
have this time you can spend seasons setting things up, or doing whatever, or have two-parters, or whatever. Like you say, that they didn't spend the time to get to this beat. Well, like they never even got to this beat in the show itself. Like that was like years after the show was canceled. They came out with these movies.
But that
And
beat
then they
was
have
set
this
up in the
movie
show
that brings
though.
back a character from a show.
But Wrath Khan was set up in Star Trek in Space Heat. Like they set up his character. I think what you're saying. I just think it was too soon and it wasn't done properly. Like Khan was
I don't
Khan.
know.
He was
I
fine.
don't. I don't think that. I don't think it applies. I think they're two different situations.
Agree to disagree, CJ. Well, let's talk about the good things about this movie then.
Okay, you start.
My start, Jayla. I love Jayla. She was that chick Scotty finds who for some reason knows badass martial arts. I thought that was pretty cool. What else? I think Scotty was really funny, more so than the other movies. In all of his movies, this is my favorite Scotty. The Enterprise getting blown up. I'm like, we've seen this before. Like, well, I thought they were going to be the fact that they brought in the Enterprise 1701A. I'm like, I thought that happened in the last one because that time it got destroyed too. So why not make this one the new ship, the 1701A? I'm asking you, CJ.
Oh, you're at. Why not? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. I didn't even remember that, or from the other ones. I remember that they destroyed it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I do. I thought that scene was great where they destroyed the Enterprise.
Yeah, that was a great scene. Break its neck.
I think this was the most like the series
Uh-huh.
out of all of the movies. They had that you have this random thing that kind of happens. It brings them down on the planet. They get kind of captured. I like the story. You know what I mean? They kind of get them captured. It's the first time that the Enterprise. Well, not the first time, but I mean they're really kind of in danger here. You know what I mean? Like it's the first time like Kirk can't just Kirk his way out of the situation. You know what I mean? Like, so to speak. I mean, like the first two movies, like he just kind of like Kirks his way out of everything. Like, but even though like there were a couple times in the movie, like with what was her name again? Jayla.
Yeah.
What was her name?
The
Jayla,
alien chick, Scotty's.
I felt like her her whole like helping of them. Sometimes I felt like that came a little bit easy.
Yeah.
Like she just so happened to be the one who found Scotty, and they kind of just so happen to have the exact items to find the rest of the crew, and like also like she lived in a ship, which you know what I mean. All of them just so happen to be able to like get it, take it off the planet.
So
you know
too many
what I mean?
coincidences.
But it's okay because the show's like that. You know what I mean? Like the show's like that. Like there's a lot of times when it's like, okay, well, we got to be done in an hour, so all right, we have the material, it's right here, like, you know what I mean, like, oh, this over here, like I scanned it with my tricorder, and oh yeah, it's everything we need right there in this room.
How do you feel about them throwing a throwback to Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise, which I've only seen a couple of episodes, but you've seen more than I have. How did you feel about that?
What is the throwback again?
With what's his name, Krull, Idris Elba being the main bad guy who fought the Zinti Wars. That's what it was, right? The Zinti Wars. It was after.
I mean, it was
the Zinti
cool,
Wars.
like, cause like I haven't met someone who watched Enterprise. Like, yeah, I got that whole reference, the Zindi or whatever. You know what I mean? It wasn't deeper than just, hey, you get this reference, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of a cool throwback.
With a
Like,
deep
oh,
cut.
okay, like that gives me a reference to how long this guy's been out there. You know what I mean? So, which I thought was cool. The bad guy, I mean, I liked how ruthless he was, but I don't know, like the whole mechanics behind him and how he worked, kind of went over my head a little bit.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, but
I can't say that I cared either, but you know.
What I did like about it though, about this movie, was that I liked that it was the Enterprise crew being the Enterprise crew. Like in the previous, like you didn't have the usual Kirk and Spock, Hulu and Chekhov, and then what's her name? Not what was it? I like that it was Spock.
Sulu, not Hulu.
Did I meant Sulu. What did I say? I think
You said
Zulu.
Hulu and Netflix.
I meant Uhura and Sulu. I like that. I like it was Kirk and Chekhov, Spock and Bones, and Sulu and Uhura this time. Like there was a mix up of the crew members and the usual thing.
They kind of played against type a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's usually Kirk and Spock, so you know what I mean. They kind of flipped them around. I did like that it was kind of Simon Pegg and the girl this time, rather
Jayla.
than it wasn't kind of like Kirk gets the girl kind of thing,
Yeah. You think Simon's gonna follow? Simon Sky's gonna follow up with that with the girl after Starfleet? You think she's gonna be the next?
Eh.
Alrighty. What else? Anything else you want to talk about beyond before moving on to the next subject?
I talked about a lot of the bad of Beyond, but I do want to say I did overall enjoy the movie. I really liked it. I thought the action set pieces,
Yep.
it was one of the best blockbusters this season, to be certain.
Yeah, I was surprised for the Fast and the Furious guys in the Star Trek movie. This felt very Trek with very Trek with some good action sequences, set pieces.
Yeah, because when you have a guy who makes action movies, and then you had a Star Wars geek write the movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's it kind of worked together wonderfully, I think.
Alrighty, so next we're going to talk about this other movie that came out from the distinguished competition from Marvel Comics, DC's Suicide Squad, their third movie in the cinematic universe. How do you feel about Suicide Squad?
I'll say this about Suicide Squad. I didn't hate it. When I left the theater, I left entertained.
Okay.
I won't say that, but that entertainment was just because it was, I don't know, it was just a fun kind of a movie. It was made kind of fun, and it was cool enough to keep me entertained. I wasn't bored in the movie. But I don't know if I could say I was pleased with it. Or I don't know if I could say that it gives me high hopes for the rest of what DC's doing.
Right.
Me and you, Renee, have had conversations about this. Like, I said that I had a lot of the same issues that I had with Batman versus Superman with Suicide Squad, story-wise and how the movie was just made. But because Suicide Squad had a lot of these funner, quirkier elements, I received it better. I guess because it dangled something shiny in front of my face, so I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, shiny stuff. But it had a lot of the same movie making flaws. I thought, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, the villain was kind of uninteresting.
Yes.
The team was kind of mismatched and unbalanced.
It was a random team, that's for sure.
Yeah, things didn't really seem like they had a purpose for necessarily being in the movie. You know what I mean? Like it was a bit clunky too, like plot wise and story wise. But like I said, because they wrapped it in a nice shiny package, like I accepted it better than I did Batman versus Superman.
So we have a clip on Suicide Squad. Can we watch that clip? Whoever's in the control room, please.
We have got company.
Betsy, Betsy, Betsy. Stupid bats, you're ruining date night!
So there's that. What do you? How did you feel about? Who do you think was the main character in this movie? Because there were so many, right? Like it was for Solid, there was too many rolling pieces. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out. Who was the main character?
Okay, well, I would say that the main character was definitely Deadshot. But there were like three main characters. Like I feel you on that. There was Deadshot, there was Harley Quinn, and there was what's that guy? What's the main guy's name? Major Guns or something?
Rick Flag.
Yeah,
Rick Flag.
Rick Flag. That's how much I care about DC characters, but
yeah. So, it's sad that I know his name.
It's like a toss-up between Rick Flag, Deadshot, and Harley Quinn. The story is mainly about those three, but I do feel like more so a slight edge goes to Deadshot, and that's probably because Will Smith was playing him, and he's the most high-profile actor in the piece. You know what I mean? But I would say I feel like it was mostly about those three, mainly Harley Quinn because she's a fan favorite, and they probably wanted to give her more screen time.
So we're both Batman
But
fans. How did you feel about her portrayal as Harley Quinn? I was very conflicted with that performance. I'm like, it's not the Harley Quinn I know. I know it's live action, but I feel very conflicted about it. How did you feel?
I thought she was fine, to be honest. I don't know what they could have done better
Right.
to make her differently. Harley Quinn, I mean, she was created on the Batman animated series, and she gained a lot of fandom to
Right.
make her more than what she is. So it's like hard to say, like, she can't just be the Batman animated series Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, which is her original incarnation. You know what I mean? That was made more for give Joker kind of a Robin sidekick sort of,
Right.
kind of a deal. And so it's like hard to say, what do you want from a Harley Quinn kind of? I mean, she did for me what I needed in the movie. You know what I mean? I thought she was funny at times. Sometimes her jokes fell flat, but
Yeah.
I thought she did okay. I'll say one thing. I liked her moral place in the movie.
Yeah.
It was about these three. It was about these three characters.
Mm-hmm.
One was the moral high ground. One was the morally ambiguous, which is Deadshot. And one was the moral low, which was Harley Quinn.
Right.
She was evil of the evil. She represented, hey, we're bad guys. I don't remorse that. I don't have any remorse for being who I am. I'm a psychopath. You know what I mean? Whereas Deadshot is like, look, I have a conscience, but I'll do whatever if you pay me. You know what I mean? And Rick Flag was, the opposite of Harley Quinn. You know what I mean? Like I like that placement on the team. But I will say, I think Harley Quinn got a lot of screen time for someone who didn't necessarily matter to the movie.
Yes.
Like what she did, what she went through, her journey. It didn't really necessarily add anything to the movie, except for comic relief.
Right.
But someone who's just comic relief, I feel like I didn't necessarily hate what was going on when she was on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who's comic relief, it's like, well, why are you even featured this much?
Exactly.
Why are you even here?
Because I felt because she's Harley Quinn and it's Joker's girlfriend. Yeah. And they're doing a solo movie. It got announced this week that she's producing a Harley Quinn solo movie. How do you feel about that? Do you think DC just catching Marvel right now? Like we need to put all the characters we can, or they're just? What do you think?
I think they're in an interesting situation because Marvel is gearing up to end, and they're just kind of beginning.
Right.
So, I don't think. I don't know. I just DC hasn't done a lot yet. And when we think back to Marvel's movies, when Marvel began, well, I mean, when we watch those movies again,
right?
Like Marvel movies are kind of great now. When they began, they were okay.
Yep.
Like it's easy to look at Avengers and Civil War and Captain America: Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy and be like, oh man, yeah, Marvel's doing it great. Marvel knows how to do it. Well, yeah, like how many tries did they have before they got to where they are now?
Yep.
And we forgave them because there was no competition out. DC's kind of trying to do the same thing, but Marvel's movies are behind us now. You know what I mean? We have like greater expectations. So I feel like it's kind of hard. It's really hard to give DC a fair shake, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's hard to give them a fair shake because there's too much involved with our decision making as far as these movies go. Far as movies are.
I would argue DC has had at least years of advantages, decades of advantages over Marvel. They've had Superman, they've had Wonder Woman, they have Batman on TV, they had the cartoons, all before Marvel started being able to catch up. Like it wasn't until '98 when they had their first good live action movie, and it was Blade, and it wasn't under a Marvel comic book flag. It's an action movie with vampires. Like if you look at it, again, it says Marvel Entertainment, but you didn't know. I didn't put it in Marvel Comics, Marvel Entertainment together. I think DC has all this opportunity, and so maybe what's that word when you take a pleasure of other people's failings? That German word. Can you hear me?
Schadenfreude.
Yes, I'm having Schadenfreude for DC, for Marvel on behalf of Marvel.
I mean, I feel make my Marvel all day.
Yep.
You know, I'm a Marvel fan over a DC fan, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But it's weird that I'm then fighting for DC right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Yeah.
but I feel like sometimes I get a bad rap. I mean, like Marvel at this moment has a lot of advantages, like Marvel Studios. That's all they make is their own movies. You
Right.
know, Warner Brothers is a studio. They make DC movies, but they do other stuff too. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the benefit of I can focus on this, and all we're gonna do right now is just make comic book movies. That's all we're gonna do all day.
Right.
You know, like to decide to do is make comic movies, and we think about how to make that better. You know, DC doesn't have it like that. It's Warner Brothers, and they're part of the whole scheme. They just now really start to get serious about making it. You know, they had these characters like for however long they had them, but it wasn't until now that they realized that they should be using them. You know, whether they should be using them now and in the same manner that Marvel is, that's a different. That's another argument. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily feel like they should feel like they have to do that, but. Well, they're doing it now, and they're not doing it greatly.
They're doing it, but not good.
But at the same time, I feel like they have gotten with these first couple of movies that they came out with. Yeah, it was clunky. Yeah, it was junky a bit, but they got a lot of that grunt work out of the way.
Right.
You know, they did lay a lot of the framework. You know what I mean? As sloppy as it is, it's there now. It's in the ether. We have this in our minds, so we don't necessarily have to explain a lot of things like Darkseid.
I have to cut it off. We're running out of time, TJ. We didn't get to the affirmative action legacy characters, but I think it was a good talk. And thank you for joining us again. We'll do it next month. We'll probably do Doctor Strange. That's a good yes, Doctor Strange. Alrighty.
And Luke Cage.
And Luke Cage. Yes, Luke Cage. Okay, bye. Fade to black, Mark.
Just the fade to black.
Fade to black. Fade to black. I can't do this all the time.
Yeah.